Hello and welcome to the very first episode of African Monitor right here on VOP TV in Lagos. My name is Choma Innocent, and for the next half hour, we will take a quick trip around Africa to come up close with the major happenings in the different parts of the continent. Let's begin from the East Central African island of Zanzibar, a semi-autonomous island province of Tanzania, where authorities are enforcing a ban on men wearing their hair in braided styles. Yes, you heard that right. As a man in Zanzibar, you are not permitted to have cornrows or whatnot. I mean, at all. Just have a low cut or be clean shaven, or maybe wear the good old Afro look. Authorities have claimed that wearing braids flouts the law and local traditions and also threaten people's morals. I'm wondering what is the correlation between braids and, morals. But I guess every country, or in this case, every island has its own laws that must be followed if you are to live there. Zanzibar's Culture Executive Secretary Omar Adam has said it is dangerous to future generations and is also a form of immorality. He also called it a culture which is adopted from outside the island. He further dismissed concerns that the move was targeting the LGBTQ, or as some people will call it, the alphabet community in the islands, where same-sex relationships are illegal. Although the law against men braiding their hair is not new on the island, it dates back to the year 2015, but the authorities have only now started enforcing it. Even tourists and visitors are not allowed to wear these hairstyles. Any man who enters or lives in Zanzibar with braided hair faces fines of more than $400 or 6 months imprisonment, or even both. Talk about brewing a storm in a teacup. Despite Zanzibar being among the top tourist destinations, authorities have said the enforcement will equally apply to visitors who are, visiting the island. On another note, 2 months ago, the Zanzibar government banned 16 book titles and the use of rainbow colors in schools, claiming that they advocated for the LGBTQ rights. Just so we all know, the authorities in Zanzibar are not playing. So, as a man, if you are planning to visit Zanzibar anytime soon and you are of the braided hair gang, lose it! Literally. Well, coming back to West Africa, news that Ghana's parliament has passed a controversial law allowing the industrial cultivation of cannabis for medicinal purposes has been generally welcomed. The Supreme Court had earlier, overturned the Narcotic Control Commission Amendment Bill, saying that it was not properly debated by members of Parliament. That ruling has upset the Attorney General's office and the Speaker of Parliament, but the law was passed after a long debate by members of Parliament on Wednesday. Although the recreational use of marijuana remains illegal, people on the streets of Ghana's capital city, Accra, have said it is a positive move as long as growers were properly overseen. Many have also advocated for the need to control the usage of marijuana and to have a system of policing. What some people have called the happy news. This view was also echoed by others concerned about young people, young men and women, youths who smoke cannabis, and the belief that it fuels those engaged in certain criminal activities. We do hope that the use, is regulated, and the people who are happy about this, we're happy for them too. Still in West Africa, opposition members of parliament in Sierra Leone have boycotted their parliamentary swearing-in ceremony following elections last month. The All People's Congress, APC, won 54 out of 149 seats, according to results announced by the Electoral Commission, which the opposition has disputed. Now, the APC has demanded the resignation of the Election Commission's chief and the rerun of the vote within 6 months. The U.S. ambassador to Sierra Leone, David Reimer, had urged against the boycott, saying a vibrant democracy needs a very strong opposition, and those who voted for the opposition need to have their voices heard all around the country. But the APC leader Samora Kamara, who is the losing presidential contender, tweeted, and I quote, he said, "Under normal circumstances, each day forward means progress. In our political journey, however, in Sierra Leone, a new day now means going backwards." Talk about moving in a vehicle of confusion. Now, in the southern part of Africa, the Constitutional Court in South Africa has ruled that former President Jacob Zuma was granted medical parole unlawfully. Yes, Zuma had been given parole by the former head of the prison service, Arthur Fraser, who is regarded as a very close ally of the former president. He was released in September 2021 after serving less than 8 weeks of a 15-month jail sentence. I mean, that is about, less than 2 weeks of over a year and 3 months jail sentence. He had been convicted of contempt after refusing to cooperate with the anti-corruption inquiry during his term in office. He has also recently been spotted at a climate conference in Zimbabwe. The prisons department had said it is studying the Constitutional Court's judgment and will comment after seeking legal advice. This week marks the second anniversary of the deadly riots sparked by Jacob Zuma's arrest, where more than 350 people were killed in the ensuing violence. And we do hope South Africa can recover from this violent event. Now, in a very tragic development in the Central African country of the Democratic Republic of Congo, a leading member of the opposition has been found dead. Yes, the body of Cherubim Okende was discovered riddled with bullets in his car in the capital city of Kinshasa. A government spokesman said it was shocking to learn of his assassination. Okende was the government's transport minister before he resigned from office in December of last year to join the opposition party called Ensemble pour la République Moise Katumbi, and he also became the party's spokesman. Following his assassination, tensions are currently high ahead of the next elections at the end of this year, and we really hope that it will be a peaceful one for the country. No more violent elections in Africa, please. Now, speaking about elections, the next segment of this program will focus on the approaching general election in the southern African country of Zimbabwe. We will be speaking with the journalist and writer Pindai Dube from the capital city of Harare, who will tell us the expectations of the people and the general mood amongst Zimbabweans towards the elections. Are they expectant or apathetic? That will be when we come back. Just stay with us. Welcome back. On August 23, Zimbabweans will vote to elect councillors, members of parliament, and a president. If there is no outright winner in the presidential contest, a runoff will be held 6 weeks later on October 2nd. Zimbabwe's Electoral Commission has approved 11 candidates. This is sharply down from the 23 candidates who contested the last election in 2018. This is no doubt because each candidate now has to pay $20,000. This is up from $1,000, quite an increase. But the contest is likely to be between two candidates, incumbent President Emmerson Mnangagwa from the governing party and opposition leader Nelson Chamisa from the Citizens Coalition for Change, CCC. Now 80 years old, President Mnangagwa has led Zimbabwe since the military forced former President Robert Mugabe to resign in 2017. And, right now, he's trying to go for a second term, but the opposition is saying no. We do hope that this election will be a violence-free one for Zimbabwe. Now, we will be talking with Pindai Dube, a journalist and writer from the capital city of Harare. We have a few questions for him as to the elections and the general mood of the people of Zimbabwe towards these elections. What are they expecting? Are they apathetic? Who will they vote for? And how will these elections turn out to be? Stay tuned as we have a conversation with journalist and writer based in Harare, Pindai Dube. We now connect with Pindai Dube, journalist and writer based in Harare. What is the general mood of Zimbabweans for this election?
Yes, what I can say is that the situation is very calm at the moment. No political violence happening. The campaigns are going on. But the main opposition, Citizens Coalition for Change leader Nelson Chamisa, had his rallies banned in the previous weeks. Especially, he was supposed to hold his first campaign launch last week in the town of Bindura, about 100 kilometers north of Harare, but police banned the rally, and also they were giving the reasons that the venue was not suitable to hold a rally, and he went to Magistrate Court to challenge the ban, and the magistrate had to uphold the police banning of Chamisa's rally. But political analysts, when we spoke to political analysts here, they say it shows that President Emerson Mnangagwa is using state institutions to fight rivals. But otherwise, the situation is calm in terms of political violence, and campaigns are going on. And President Emerson Mnangagwa is mainly campaigning. He's allowed to campaign. He has held about 3 rallies which he addressed for the past weeks, but Chamisa's rallies are being banned by police. But he's set to hold his star rally this weekend in the city of Guero, after we understand police have allowed that rally to go ahead. And so we are yet to see, but that's the situation at the moment. There's no political violence, it's just quiet.
Now, what are the chances of President Mnangagwa really clinching the seats this time, and how will you distribute the feelings of Zimbabweans towards this candidate demographically?
Yes, in terms of President Emerson Mnangagwa securing another term, what I can say is a bit tricky at the moment, because Chamisa has gained ground. Looking at the previous 2018 election, what I can say is that this is a dog-eat-dog situation. It's 50-50, but what I can tell you, Nelson Chamisa is gaining much ground. That's why we have seen that President Emerson Mnangagwa has made sure that he has thrown spanners to Chamisa's campaign rallies, in terms of banning the rallies, using state institution, police, and the courts. But we can't tell who is taking this, who is taking it this time. It's 50-50 at the moment.
Finally, I would like to know, how do you assess the economic performance of President Mnangagwa in Harare and the Bulawayo as well? Will he be the ideal choice?
President Emerson Mnangagwa is claiming that the economy has improved, but the situation on the ground is different. People are suffering. It's hard especially for government workers who are getting peanuts. The Zim dollar especially is losing value, and if Zimbabwe inflation is one of the highest in the world, but we have a government which still claims that the economy is mending. It's hard for ordinary people to put food on the table, especially in the urban areas of Harare and Bulawayo and other cities. Situation is getting tight. There is no shortage of electricity, shortage of water, and like I mentioned, it's hard for an ordinary family to secure food. So I can say the economy is worse than before as we are getting into election. But the government of President Emerson Mnangagwa claims that the economy is growing very fast.
Well, it's very special thanks to Pindai Dube for joining us on African Monitor today. We will be following the election proceedings in Zimbabwe and give you updates as they unfold. That is all we have lined up for you on the African Monitor today. My name is Chioma Innocent. Do join me for another insightful episode of the program next week. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. It is Voice of the People Television. Also follow our social media platforms at VOP Live. Till I come your way again next week, have a good evening.